one voter, whoever he or she may be, not vote Caitlin Clark number one on the ballot for WNBA Rookie of the Year. One vote short from being unanimous. Announced today, Caitlin Clark, Rookie of the Year, which was a foregone conclusion. Yeah. But someone did not vote for Caitlin Clark to win this award.
Well, first off, thank you, Caitlin Clark, for making me care about who won WNBA Rookie of the Year for the first time in my life. So I appreciate you for that. Everyone knew she was going to win it. 66 out of 67 votes. The one vote went to, wait for it, Angel Reese.
Okay.
One vote. Here's my prediction. This is, to me, this is all pretty predictable. I think the person who cast the one vote for Angel Reese, we're going to hear from them. They're not going to go into the shadows or be silent. There's going to be a column. They're going to do interviews as to why they voted Angel Reese. This is going to be played into something to get attention for this one person. That is my guess. And maybe this one person is Frankie Delacroix, for all we know. I don't know if Frankie has a vote, but I'm willing to bet Frankie Delacroix would have voted Angel Reese.
So we're trying to figure out who this one voter is. Many are all over social media trying to uncover who this may be. But so this is how.
I mean, can we find the
this
67
is how the award
voters?
is handed out. So the voters are made up of two local journalists.
Okay.
Lowercase j. Two local journalists who are covering the local NBA team.
The W beat.
The W beat, that's right. And then you have a collection of national writers, reporters, broadcasters. I'm sure they make exceptions and they have other, job titles in there. So that you have 24 local market voters, and then you have 43 national writers. That's who makes up the WNBA voting group. The WNBA does not release the voters' decisions, according to the Indy Star.
The voter will. I think the voter is going to release it because the voter wants attention.
But
and
don't
they
you
want
risk
clicks.
being Hub-Arkish here because it's so obvious?
So
it's so obvious who should win the award, and when you're the one who doesn't do it, you don't deserve the vote.
My guess is the one person who voted Angel Reese is either a local reporter in Chicago that covers Angel Reese in the Sky.
Okay.
One of those two, or some national column, Christine Brennan. It could be her. Someone is going to write a column about why they didn't vote for Caitlin Clark.
And
it's going to be turned into an attention-seeking click factory. That's why the person did this. I do not believe that anyone legitimately watched the two play and looked at the stat line and looked at the results of the team. Any metric you want to look at, improvement from the team from one year to the next with that player, stats, records broken, head-to-head, everything. There's not a single person who looked at that and said, I think Angel Reese is actually the Rookie of the Year. This was done for attention by someone. So if they don't come out of the closet and say that they did this and they hide in the shadows, then I'm wrong. But I'm willing to bet someone's going to be writing a column that will publish tomorrow somewhere about why they voted for Angel Reese.
What if there's more than one person?
And the answer is that their pencil threatened them. I felt threatened by the pencil when I tried to put in the box
Someone
next
was
to Caitlin Clark.
at me.
It didn't sound like they were cheering for the team. It sounded like they were cheering against me.
I've pulled the name. So it was Monica McNutt.
Yes.
Who went on ESPN and was making the argument that she will vote Rookie of the Year based on the record, based on the playoff standings. Remember this debate? One team got in, one team didn't. If it's just based off that for Monica McNutt. So I'm guessing Monica McNutt voted for Caitlin Clark based on her criteria. If she has a vote, which we don't know. They don't release the names. This year...
Well, but Indiana did better, right, than Chicago?
Yeah. Chicago didn't make the playoffs.
So she had to vote for that.
So... This year is the first year, Chad, that they had for Rookie of the Year, you just select one player instead of ranking them, which is like the Heisman way. I don't know if they're doing that for MVP and all this now, but it is the first time they've done just one vote. That's all you needed was one vote for this. The stats are there, the records are there. Everyone, no matter if you are rooting against Caitlin Clark because you like another team. There's very few of them.
I'm excited
even if it's that.
I'm excited to see who it is.
I hope we get to see.
It's got to be revealed one way or the other.
What if it's more than one person that claims that they were the person?
Well, these are journalists with a lowercase j.
Yeah, right.
We need the journalists with a capital J, the capital J journos, to be on this case trying to find who it is.
There is no doubt, though.
It has got to be easy to have some contact at the WNBA office to find out who the one voter was if you really wanted to get this scoop.
There is no doubt in my mind if Anscape.com has a vote that it's them.
In the Google machine. Does
no question. Based on
have WNBA
what we've
votes?
Talked about this week. No doubt. Clark, by the way, has been the WNBA's Rookie of the Year. She will receive a special trophy. Don't know when that will take place. And she also has a bonus. Would you like to know how much money she will make off this?
For Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year.
$5,000.
It is right at it. $5,150.
Did I really guess that right?
Bonus money.
I was trying to go inappropriately low on my guess, and I nailed it.
Perfect. She, in a statement, thanked her family, friends, and teammates and the Fever organization and everyone that cheered us on all season.
They need Megan Rapinoe to win equal pay for NBA and WNBA players alike. That's the next step.
You know who's not going
By the way, Hope Solo deserves a lot more credit for equal pay than Megan Rapinoe. Watch that Netflix documentary, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Let's see. That
she got snuffed out.
Let's see, the Fever. Okay, so Caitlin Clark back in August said, I think me and Angel would both tell you the same answer. We don't wake up and think about individual awards. That's what everybody wants to make this about. Both of our teams are competing for playoff spots. That's our main focus.
That's what Angel Reese said?
That's what Caitlin Clark said.
Okay.
After a statement by Angel Reese saying similar things. You know who's not going to win Rookie of the Year in the NBA? Bronny James.
Correct. Nailed it.
However, he's rookie of the practice, I guess we could say, because he's hitting threes over LeBron. That's making LeBron more competitive, according to Anthony Davis. So he hit a three over LeBron in this scrimmage. They're in camp. They open the preseason tomorrow. LeBron wants the ball after he drives in and does, some great move on some other poor soul that he's taking it out on.
Poor bastard that just had to get posted up by LeBron.
Yeah. Then hits another three over him and goes down and demands the ball and is pissed off about it.
Well, the second three was hit over Austin Reeves or a different player.
That's right.
And then he got mad again because
they're
he hit
going
another
back
three.
And forth. So apparently Bronny had a great practice. They're having a pickup game at the facility, I believe, last week, where he's driving the lane and LeBron hit a layup on his son. But that's the whole point here. Team James.
Let the boy watch.
Let the boy watch. Team James.
I think LeBron's ever said that.
They pushed this narrative right before the draft. LeBron had said it was his dream to play with his kids, right? It was Bronny on the roster. Then they pushed this narrative that, no, we're not demanding in this free agent frenzy for LeBron, the summer of LeBron. We're not demanding that he's got to be drafted by the Lakers or whoever we're going to end up with. Remember this?
Yeah.
But it is, we could say, the final chapter. It's the final paragraph, maybe, for LeBron James on his historic career, because he says he's done it all, and at this point, he's not trying to pick up any more awards. He's just playing pickup basketball with his son in practice.
LeBron, do you feel like there's anything left to accomplish? I mean, you pretty much, checked off all the boxes. Is there
anything left for me to accomplish as a basketball player?
As a basketball player, on the court or off the court?
Everything else is extra credit. I'll take it, though. I love it. I love what I do. But I don't need to. I got everything.
Now, what he's saying is true. I mean, he has done it all for his career. He can win another title, but that's not going to change the fact that he's already going to the Basketball Hall of Fame and he's up there with Jordan as the greatest ever, right? That whole debate. But there's no question he's playing, 22 years in, based on Bronny being on this roster. And he would have, if situations were different, and that's why Bronny's in the draft when he was, declaring for the draft. He's going to play with LeBron, and LeBron made it happen. And even the players are, in on it. Anthony Davis is admitting, yeah, it's cool just to see father and son. He's like, I'm way older than my kid. I'll be way done with my career by the time he could possibly play. He's like, but it would be cool. And LeBron is certainly father and son right now on the practice floor. He's done it all.
So here's where I have a hard time with this statement. I can't think of another industry or anywhere else in the workforce or in life where you could earn a check for $48 million for 1 year and then admit publicly, I'm good. I've done everything I can. Done everything I want to accomplish. I'm just out here playing around. You're collecting a check for $48 million from the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, we know the Lakers will bend over backwards to grant you your every whim by drafting your son or doing whatever else you want, even though you're not currently producing championships or anything close for them. But I'm just amazed. If you took a CEO, all right, if you took Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, second time around, Bob Iger to Bob Chapek to Bob Iger again, took back over. And Bob Iger said, I'm advanced in my career. I've been CEO multiple places. I've done a lot. I've accomplished everything I want to accomplish. I'm good. I'm set. What would the shareholders, what would the board say about that for any company's CEO? To say, I've done all I want to do in this business. I don't need anything else. I don't need to do anything. I'm not trying to accomplish anything right now. I've accomplished everything on my list. I don't think LeBron is wired that way, even though that's what he's saying. When push comes to shove, he's going to compete, I believe.
We saw the Olympics.
I just would not want to hear that as an employer.
We saw the Olympics.
Yeah,
and by the way, he's going to get his. He averaged 26 points per game last season.
But then again, I'm being critical here if I'm the employer, and I'm thinking, well, you busted your ass in the Olympics. That was something you really wanted to accomplish again, was to close out your Olympic career with a gold medal. So now what's the motivation?
Well, he's also said,
you got your son here, you accomplished that, so what's the motivation as a player?
He's also said, go get this player, go get that player, and bring them in.
And they do it.
Well, they have
try at least.
Yeah, they have it recently. That's also a part of the dynamic of, are they going to be a title contender or not? They haven't been. But he's been recruiting other players to come play with him in Los Angeles. Those players are choosing not to, which is also intriguing.
Look, good for him that he can say that and no one cares
and
gets away with it.
He's played chess.
Yeah.
He's a chess master with J.J. Redick as new coach.
He's read the Malcolm X autobiography multiple times.
He's a part of book clubs.
He's very well read.
The first two pages, he knows he's a aficionado on The Godfather, as we found out.
It is a question not related to the game, but since it has been a lot of publicity yesterday and today about Godfather Part 2, which is the scene or the moment or the phrase or the quote you like more from the movie?
Oh, from The Godfather. It's too many different phrases and too many different lines in that movie to just categorize one.
But which is the one which inspires you, represents you more?
I mean, each movie is 9 hours long. I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, there's so many. I don't know. I'll let you pick one, and I'll roll with it. It's a great trilogy.
That's what he's doing, Chad. He's just rolling with it. Because that was in Italy a while back where he's talking about he's referencing that he's seen all these movies. It's a simple question. If you've seen Godfather 2, that's your favorite. What's your favorite scene? What's your favorite quote?
Favorite performance? He gave him an out for anything. And if all the movies are 9 hours long, the response is, well, then there should be plenty of material for you to choose from.
Name something.
Just name anything about the movie.
Name something.
Are you aware of Robert
Say a word.
De Niro? Have you heard
It's like
the name
Celebrity
De Niro?
Jeopardy on the SNL.
Are you aware De Niro's in the film?
Speak.
Yes. Just write a number. Any number will do. It could be the number 3. It could be the number 4. It could be the number 1. Any number will do, and he could not
and you got LeBron just allowing the Italian journalist to go ahead and he gets to choose now. The journalist gets to choose.
LeBron, who's clearly a true cinephile, when you hear that description of one of the all-time greats of Godfather Part 2, he's got plenty of time now when he's not caring about accomplishing anything on the court anymore.
Yes.
Because he's done it all to go back and rewatch all the Godfather movies and come back with a better answer for that Italian journalist with a capital J.
Yes,
that's the level of questions I want.
Deep dive.
From my European journalist, I want Italian guys
Great follow-up.
asking about the Godfather.
So here's Anthony Davis, by the way, Chad.
Celebrity Jeopardy. What a gem that was.
Yes. The official quote on the pickup basketball that's being played in between LeBron and Bronny. It's fantastic to be able to be here and witness it in practice.
By the way, has anyone ever looked more like the son to someone than Bronny in this photo? Just the difference in size and stature. This This is the sun.
Look at LeBron intentionally covering up the 6 so we don't have 69 on the screen right now.
Yeah.
Also,
keeping it clean for the family.
Yeah, yes.
It's also why I didn't want to answer on The Godfather Part 2. There's some questionable content in that movie. He wanted to keep it family friendly.
Look at towards the end.
My favorite part is when anybody gets killed.
LeBron wanted the ball. You could see.
I know someone who would answer that way.
Even though they weren't matched up, the competition is there, and that's what we love to see. That from Anthony Davis, who was genuine in the fact that he's like, yeah, it's cool, and it is cool, but it's totally manufactured and it was made possible by LeBron James. Period.
What if the follow-up to the question about Godfather 2 was a French journalist asking, what was your favorite scene from the Space Jam movie you made? What was your favorite moment? Was Don Cheadle in the same room with you at any point, or was that all green screen when his part was portrayed?
Can we listen to this again? The Italian.
Please.
This is a deep, this is true reporting. This is a follow-up.
Can we find this Italian guy and get him on the show and just ask him about his favorite films?
Question for Pop post-game
yes.
from the German media about.
Ask him what he thinks about spaghetti westerns back in the day.
Here is LeBron trying to answer. Just say a word in regards to The Godfather Part 2.
Big Fellini fan.
It is a question.
I love this so much.
Not related to the game, but since it has been a lot of publicity yesterday and today about Godfather Part 2, which is the scene or the moment or the phrase or the quote.
Can this guy moderate our next debate?
Oh, from The Godfather. It's too many different phrases and too many different lines in that movie to just categorize one.
Categorize.
But which is the one which inspires you, represents you more?
I mean, each movie is 9 hours long.
He is a Burrow winner right there.
I mean, there's so many. I don't know. I'll let you pick one, and I'll roll with it. It's a great trilogy.
How about that? It goes down to the bio on Wikipedia for LeBron. That detail on his favorite quote from Godfather Part 2 was made. It was decided upon by this Italian journalist.
If this Italian gentleman moderated an American political debate, I'd be okay with him fact-checking any candidate that he wants. Just jump in there. And that was actually Godfather Part 3, the line we just said from. So no.
But again, which one?
Andy Garcia was not in Godfather Part 2, LeBron. We need a different answer for this. I love that guy.
Yeah, acting like it's all there.
I can't imagine handling a pop culture question worse than claiming in some questionnaire that something's your favorite movie and then not even coming up with a single reference. He could have just named an actor.
He just makes stuff up.
But he could have just said De Niro or Pacino. It's any scene Pacino's in. Well, you could have said that and gotten away with it, and he could not come up with a single thing.
Where there was a conversation going on or a back and forth in an interview, and he goes, yeah, I was going to say that. That was going to be my answer. Because he just jumps in to add to the conversation like he knew what was going on.
I'd like to jump in on this one if I can, please, Kevin Durant. I was going to say exactly what Kevin just said.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to say.
That detail about chess master. I play a lot of chess. Actually, I don't play chess.
We should start a LeBron James book club on this show where we bring books in and then you just ask me questions about it, having not read it, and I try to answer what's in the book.
Yeah, a book review of the first 2 pages of any said book.
Yeah. One of us will come in with the Wikipedia Cliff Notes version of the book, having read it, and then we'll ask questions specifically about characters or things from the book, and then the other person has to try to answer without having read any of the book.
I mean,
and we can test ourselves against LeBron.
We should read the first 2 pages of the books he's holding to see what he actually claims to have read. There's always page 2 for LeBron James.
That is funny. The bookmark or where
he's holding it open. Yeah. Or just he's sitting there with it turned upside down like he was reading it.
Do you think that he saw Oprah's book club and thought, I can market this?
Andrew Luck.
This is something I can do.
Imagine Andrew Luck having a conversation with LeBron James over a book.
I think he'd move on. Move on pretty quickly. Do you think Andrew Luck has ever seen a movie or he's just read books?
Oh, yeah, he's seen a movie.
I feel like he only watches, lowbrow comedies. He doesn't watch anything. He only reads books.
Look at how every photo where these are, different books. He is.
I love the one with the mask.
Always on page 2. Always. He just sitting there in his locker reading.
You would have thought the pandemic would allow for more time to read.
You would think to catch up. What are the odds? What are the odds that it's always just as he begins a new book?
Do you think anyone in his team would have told him, hey, LeBron, the photo op, You're always just opening the book. Let's get one halfway through.
Yeah.
When we take the photo.
Well, it's not a book, Chad, but it's the documentary. 7-part documentary called The Saga of Colin Kaepernick that even ESPN doesn't want right now. Even
The Saga?
The Saga, D-A, The Saga of Colin Kaepernick. ESPN
Deshaun Watson, one of the executive producers on this?
Spike Lee and Jamel Hill are collaborating with, it's taken forever. It's a much delayed series. Here they are together. They've been partnered together for a while. ESPN was offered this, and they said no. They declined it. Good for Jimmy Pitaro here.
Yeah.
ESPN is citing their lack of inventory, their lack of space for at least a year is what Puck.com is reporting with all this, the media insiders. Chad, they're saying that it was the lack of space to run the much-delayed series for at least another year, and it's because of the details of what this series has become. And it's caused reported arguments between Colin Kaepernick and Spike Lee, like heated arguments. Because Kaepernick wants this 7-part series, this documentary with his name on it, The Saga of Colin Kaepernick, to be more about him than the way it was described here from Puck, prioritizing, the political commentary would take an uptick, including like Trump's take on Colin Kaepernick back in 2016, leading towards the NFL's response or the conservative overall views on George Floyd, for instance, and other things. It's turned more towards the anti-conservative political decisions and commentary, and it's a one-sided affair totally. And even ESPN, who has long been known for having the take a stance, have a one-sided political agenda, this is a sign, another sign, and it's coming straight from Jimmy Pitaro, that they're not about these messages that are prioritizing the messages that are one-sided, and instead they're focused on entertainment. And so now Kaepernick and company, Kaepernick and Co., they're shopping this around to Netflix and other spots. Still nothing here to indicate that anyone has picked this up or has paid for it. And they legitimately thought that this project was going to be on ESPN as part of their streaming service and platforms. No. Pitaro and ESPN said no to the saga of Colin Kaepernick.
That's good news for ESPN. I will say, instead of copping out with just BS, bogus, we don't have the inventory when we're all going to watch Johnsonville cornhole competitions on Saturdays on ESPN that you could be running this
or
on.
ESPN Plus.
You could put on ESPN Plus at any point.
Of course, but that
you put
that
Chris Berman's NFL show on ESPN Plus only. You put Peyton Manning shows on ESPN Plus. You could run it on your streamer at any point. This we don't have the inventory, to me, is a soft pedal way out. And you could have just admitted we passed.
Well, that's what they're doing. But they're
just say it like we didn't like it.
Well, they're not saying anything publicly.
Yeah.
They're telling Kaepernick and Spike Lee, no, we're not going to partner with you on this and put it on our platform. I mean, again, I think it's a good sign for ESPN. So Spike Lee's film.
Do you think they'll put it on Anscape, on their Anscape Plus? Do they have a streamer?
Maybe, yeah, they would. You think Spike Lee wants to be on Anscape?
Opening, the narration will be by Frankie Delacroix the entire time? Or just the start of
it? This from Puck. Last year, Spike Lee said, the saga of Colin Kaepernick is definitely not apolitical. The reporter, I'm told it's full of incendiary critiques of conservative politicians and Donald Trump, who urged the NFL to fire players who knelt in protest during the Kaepernick saga of, 2016, 2017. And then it goes on to say Trump reconsidered in 2020, saying that Kaepernick deserved another chance. In fact, I'm told many of the disputes between Lee and Kaepernick have centered on the filmmakers' attempt to expand the canvas of the series far beyond the former football star who was shadow banned by the NFL. and that Kaepernick he has approval rights. He wants it all about him, which, I mean, the saga of Colin Kaepernick should be, if you're going to make this. A 7-part series, though, Chad. We only got one part of Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, we need so much more.
And we have 7-part series that no one wants on.
This reminds me, I got to watch the latest episode of the Aaron Hernandez story that I've noticed.
How many parts is
recorded.
this?
I think there's 8 episodes, so it's not a short series. I think it's 8 or 10.
Randomly, I was scrolling YouTube wormhole, and on the reels, there's like a 60-second thing on Belichick and Hernandez, and how Hernandez would go out into the practice field wearing flip-flops, and Belichick wouldn't even say anything about it. He would kind of just ignore him.
Well, where I am right
but
now,
he would get all over other
yet
players. Okay.
So this latest episode, I ended with his time at Florida. Urban Meyer made him leave, said you don't have a spot to come back. He wanted to come back for a senior year. So then he enters the draft. He's entering the draft as I left off with this next episode where he's going to the Patriots. And I saw the actor who's playing Bill Belichick, which is also about as funny as the guy who played Urban Meyer. So I look forward to giving you my review of that. Speaking of reviews, I was curious about what Spike Lee's up to other than this.
What is he doing? Other than sitting courtside?
His next, in pre-production right now, is, I think it's a movie. It's called Boner. I'm not even kidding. It is a musical about Pfizer's invention of Viagra. A musical.
I mean, it's like
that got my attention. Here's one that actually looks really good. High and Low. It is a remake of a 1963 Akira Kurosawa Japanese crime thriller starring Denzel Washington and Jeffrey Wright about a botched kidnapping of a rich person's son. High and Low. That has my interest. I gotta admit, between what's it called?
The Saga
and
of
Boner,
Colin Kaepernick.
If I had to choose between the three, The Saga, Boner, or High and Low, I'm going High and Low of upcoming Spike Lee projects. Also, he did direct the Capital One halftime video for the March Madness college basketball commercials he's in.
Chad,
I'd rather watch that on a
Spike
loop
Lee went
than
limp.
watch Boner.
Spike Lee went limp whenever ESPN said no.
I'd rather watch all of these things over and over again other than the musical about Viagra.
Boner. It's the new Hamilton.
He's also directing
Chad's going to be listening to this entire set list or the entire musical in your car like you did with Hamilton?
Well, apparently he's very interested in musicals now because I see another upcoming project on this is IMDb, the official page, Prince of Cats. The description, 80s hip-hop retelling of Shakespeare's timeless classic Romeo and Juliet. Tybalt and his Capulet crew navigate a violent Brooklyn where underground sword dueling with the Montagues blossom alongside a vibrant music scene.
Also sounds like Boners right there.
So hip-hop, rap, 80s, Brooklyn, Romeo and Juliet. I would watch this way before Boner. That I guarantee.
You think the Kelces would watch Boner? I think Gronk would.
I think Jason would sign up to star in it because he's trying to launch his Hollywood career.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if Spike Lee came to me and said, I want you to star in a
Kelce's
movie.
Already going to be a
By the way,
cameo,
the movie is Boner, a musical about Viagra. I'd still say yes. I'd still sign up.
So the New Heights pod.
Sure, yeah, I'll do it.
Travis Kelce, he's okay with stats. Jason Kelce doesn't like stats or nerds.
It's javelin. And now, for a new addition to round up the week, we got Coach Quote of the Week. I've been waiting to do this ever since I sat down with Nick Saban at an ESPN event. Sometimes coaches just say it best. Trav, hit me.
During the post-game press conference, Falcons head coach Raheem Morris was asked about tight end Kyle Pitts not getting any catches in the game this week, and Morris responded, "It was just about going out there and winning the game. Stats are for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff. Our stats officially for losers. I don't think they're for losers. I think when you're getting good stats, you're helping your team win. And when you do it at a consistent level and you're scoring touchdowns and you're winning football games, they do matter. But I hear what he's saying though. Yeah. And it's a part of my philosophy and not being upset that I'm not getting buku stats this year. is that it's about winning the football game, and he's focused on wins and losses. And speaking of stats, we got a pretty crazy one from that game. Falcons beat the Saints 26-24 on Sunday, and the Saints became the first team to score at least 24 points, allow no offensive touchdowns, and lose in 40 years.
Allow no defensive touchdowns?
Allow no offensive touchdowns.
Oh, like no pick sixes or anything?
No,
what does that mean?
They didn't allow the other team to score a touchdown.
How'd they get all their points?
A defensive touchdown, maybe special teams, field goals.
Field goals?
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Isn't that crazy?
Listen, this is my viewpoint on stats.
Talk to me.
Stats are numbers. What I care about is the football. Where does it go? Does it go in the end zone? Do we get points? Points are also numbers, but points determine games and wins and losses. Yeah. Stats are numbers. Numbers are nerds. Nerds are losers. Therefore, stats are losers.
If you care enough about stats for it to change your day, I think that's when you don't have a winning mentality.
Yeah.
So I get what Coach Morris is saying, but at the same time, if you're putting the ball in the end zone, you're going to get stats. It is what it is.
Yeah, but you're not counting the stats. You're just counting the points.
You're not counting the stats.
All we care about is visually. Does that ball go into that territory right there?
Yep.
We get points. Does that ball go through those uprights?
Mentality.
When we're on defense, does the ball go that way or does it stay where it's at? That's all I care about. I don't care about the numbers.
You're right. But at the same
numbers
time,
are for the analytics people.
When you get the ball in the end zone.
And the pencil pushers.
When you're getting the ball in the end zone.
The zit faces.
When you're getting the ball in the end zone, you're getting the stats.
And the 4 eyes.
It is what it is. I will say this. Kyle Pitts is a unbelievable athlete. Great football player. I think trying to get the ball in his hands is a pretty good plan for the Falcons. Yeah.
In all seriousness, they should probably get his stats up because he's a really good weapon to utilize.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And he's one of their better. He's an unbelievable athlete out there on the field. I think he has a lot of mismatches.
Maybe if Kyle Pitts has some catches, they actually do score an offensive touchdown.
That's another way to look at it. See,
there we go.
There's a New Heights pod on stats, analytics, and I like how he said nerds, zit faces, 4 eyes. He worked it all in.
I love the full evolution into ogre from Revenge of the Nerds for Jason Kelce is what he became in that segment. I'm sure our friend Cynthia Freeland would have something to say about what he said.
He would not like
nerds.
one big thing on every NFL game, which is coming up.
Cynthia Freeland's no nerd, and she's big into numbers. Mina Kimes might take issues with this as a numbers analytics person for ESPN, both of the same parent company. Jason Kelce might get called into a little meeting at ESPN if Mina tells the right people she was offended.
Chad, you would call, I believe you would call in a certain Braves player for handing out hugs at second base.
Yeah.
What happened here?
Orlando Arcia, this is GTFO. I'm a little late on GTFO for the week, but GTFO on going up and giving a hug to a guy with the Padres who just had a double that
in the middle of the game
made the game 5-1. I think this was Fernando Tatis.
An elimination game.
In his double. This is it for the Braves. They had to win to continue on. Game was 5-1 at that point. Now look, if Orlando Arcia, full disclosure here, if Orlando Arcia had the season offensively he did last year where he was a starter in the All-Star game and was good at all this season, I would probably forgive this and him doing it. But the fact that dude could not see the baseball all season, I don't think there was ever a good stretch for him offensively. He's a good defensive shortstop. I don't think there was ever anything good offensively. He was the 9th batter all year for a reason. Terribly disappointing. GTFO hugging the guy at second, 5-1. Place is going nuts. They've got the yellow towels, look like the terrible towels for Pittsburgh. Give me a break, dude. We don't hug mid-game in an elimination game.
If I'm like standing on second base, I don't want a hug from another player.
Well, so
right?
Yeah, this whole mentality.
Yeah, I know, man.
And look, I
Jersey
get it. As a Braves fan, I'm amazed they made it to this wild card round. So whatever happened, I wasn't going to be too upset with. Just the fact they got themselves into the playoffs. But my Aunt Donna, who I love, after the Braves lost that first game to the Mets, said in our family group text, I just really hope they lose now so they can all go home to their families and not have to go into the playoffs. And then a day and a half later, as Orlando Arcia is hugging a guy at second,
Arcia heard you.
I sent a text back to our family group, and I said, hey, Donna, good news. They're going to be back with their families later tonight. It's all over. It was a day and a half. That's
Hand
all
out
the
the
playoffs lasted for the
No
Braves.
champagne celebrations, just hugs.
No, I mean, so let's hug the Padres and wish them well against the Dodgers. Ever since that World Series title, the Braves have 7 straight postseason appearances, including that 2021 season. They have been abysmal in the playoffs. I think 1-11 now since that World Series in elimination games in the playoffs. So look, this is the Braves that I knew my entire youth. Great regular season team, ton of division titles, great franchise, winning franchise, bad in the postseason. You could say the same about the Dodgers in a lot of ways, especially here recently with these teams. And once again, they're bad in the postseason. But let's not celebrate it with hugs at second base. You can go hug the guy in the tunnel between clubhouses post-game and wish him luck.